Hey folks, this is Jimmy here in Paleo Mountain in Vermont. I want to show you some stones. And these I think are special times. People are going through a lot of what the hell is going on? Why didn't I see this? What's going on with the world? Where did it all come from? Everything I see seems to be a lie. It's not the truth. It's propaganda. And Dave over at Budcat7 put a great video out talking about that. Archaeology has great propagandists, and they will tell you stories in their books that are just not true. And these stones right here show that. There's a history in North America, and I'm going to say in the New England area, because that's where we are, in Vermont, that we haven't been told, taught about. It's not written in books, but it's here, written in stone. And the people were smart enough to leave their story. They were artistic, they were creative, they were storytellers. I can't see them being vicious people. And the interesting thing about the area we're in right here, we're standing on a trail that's named after a large Indian. His name was Saskatchewan. And he was a tall leader of the people around here. Very tall. He was a giant. And the ridge I live on has given up skeletons that were over 8 feet tall and double rows of teeth and all kinds of crazy things in the past century. And this is the same ridge that Mount Ephraim is on. It goes all the way north to Mount Ascutney. It's a really old sedimentary rock surrounded by water, filled with quartz, energy everywhere. The place will heal you just being here. And I say that because it's done it to me. And it starts by healing your mind. When you see that, well, maybe I'm wrong about everything. And how do you do that? Looking at a stone. Well, this is how. Just look at the stones and see what you see. And I'm going to show you the faces of those giants, and possibly the face of what I believe is Saskatchewan. And this property has 3 walls running through it, running north-south, several 100-meter long walls, acoustically built. If you watch my videos, you'll know what I'm talking about. And there's a lot of quartz in them, and they've stood the test of time. And the center wall is a serpent wall, which is an astronomical calendar. And they told the time of the year, the specific day of the year, using stone walls. These people were brilliant, they were artistic, and they left their story in these stones. And this is one of the first ones I found in the wall itself, is the buffalo. It's a beautiful piece of quartz with, I believe that's hematite. And you can see the golden eye in the buffalo. That's a piece of gold right there. Somehow it melted on, attached to the buffalo. And I get a lot of criticism that these are just geoglyphs, and they are. I mean, a lot of these stones were used because of how they looked naturally, and the images were brought out of them. The same way you would bring out the images on a cave wall, by the way the relief of the wall itself made shapes, and the way the light reflected off of it, and the shadows. This is an extension of that type of thinking. Cave painting put into stone. And you have to wrap your mind around that because we consider painting as framed paintings up on the wall, posters, framed in images, things like that. These people looked at things in relief, in shadow and movement, and you can see it if you look in these stones that, well, the shadow and relief is everything, because as you move, you see different things in these stones. And that's the face of a giant right there. The profile. The long face, the long jaw, flat nose, hooked nose sometimes. This stone is an eagle stone. It's also a horse stone. It's also a giant stone. You can see the eagle on it. There's an eagle right there. I don't know how that was put on the stone. It was carved out of the stone using the natural color of the stone. There's the eagle face right there. That's that side of the stone. If you come up here, you'll see the horse. The horse's body. This stone here made me tie the cave painting into the stones because it looks like a cave painting the way it's carved in there. And the way they produce these is a whole thing in itself. They used a lot of pecking and gouging and grinding tools. And you rotate it, you'll see the face. Quite interesting. If you turn it this way, it's a horse's profile. Granted, it looks like an ancient horse, but that's what it is. And they used a lot of times geometrical shapes for the eyes. They put triangles, things like that for the eyes. They did that a lot. They used triangles. They were very, their walls were very geometrically built, which is why they stood up for so long. They knew what they were doing when they built things. That's a real nice piece of quartz. That was inside a chamber in the serpent wall with another stone that looked like it was the same piece of stone, very similar. And this is the face of a giant right here. This is a cutting tool. It was a cobble. Very sharp on that edge, and you can see the face of the giant right there. Same profile, same face. I have a 15-pound white quartz axe with that exact face on it. And this is a cutting tool. You could take the meat off a carcass with this pretty efficiently. And there's another face here on this side right here. And in between, you can see the skull right there. A duality of faces. And it's the cutting tool. It's beautiful. And that's the face right there of the giant. And I believe these giants in the area were living alongside, I'll say, normal sized people. I don't know how tall they were, but their tools fit in my hand pretty well. It seems that way to me, and the stories seem to be so. That's a horse, and that's a man. Duality, the center of the stone. And if you balance this stone, it'll balance right in the center, right there. They made these stones to balance. Everything was a work of art to them, and useful, I guess, too. Some of these things, like this, will help you date the place. That's definitely an elephant, and it's a pendant. It's got a hole going through it. You would have hung that, I guess, around your neck. That's a piece of serpentine. And it was probably very polished at the time. It's still polished, but it's quite old. So we have horses, we have birds, we have people, we have elephants. There's a little grinding bowl. The bottom of it's hollowed out. Make it lighter and thinner, easier to hold. There's some fang-like, I think they're jewelry. I find these in the mound areas. They're left around the mounds where the burials are. I have 2 mounds on the property, and I believe there's giants buried in there, large hominids. They're on the east side of the Serpent Wall. I could be wrong, I don't know. There might not be anyone in there, but there are 2 mounds, and there's a layer of red ochre on them, several inches thick. They're red ochre mounds. There's a strange cutting tool. See the shape of the head? That's a serpent symbol, believe it or not, a naga. It's one of the most ancient symbols of the serpent is a naga, which is that right there. And you find it here in Vermont. This is another blade. Certainly has a person in it. I call this the Sphinx because of the way it's sitting. And all these white quartz and all of these were found up in the mound area, about 30 yards from here. This stone, very interesting. It's got the human face. It's got a bear on his back. The bear is the blue quartz. The human is the white quartz. And there's a line in the middle. There's a quartz awl. Punching holes in things. This is a real nice quartz axe. Round down on both sides. And you can see the notch. This is how they'd attach it, through the notch. Probably in the back of a club, like that. My friend Doc had found, stuck in the mud, wooden tools and clubs down by Bellows Falls. And they were in the mud for all those years. And he still has them. The handles for these things. I just wanted to show you the face of a giant right there. Dave over at Budcat7 put a video out tonight about giants. And he talks about Galena Canyon, which is a great story. You should go over there on Budcat7, check that out. It's a great story about giants from Galena Canyon who built towers, stone towers, and frescoed the inside of the towers. Very artistic people. The large hominids of ancient North America. And if you want to say these are geoglyphs, we'll go right ahead. You're probably right, but they're modified and they were used and they were created by the people here in Vermont, right here on this mountain. And that just may be the face of Saskatchewan. And if you notice, you turn it a little bit, he's wearing a bird on his head. Looks like a vulture. Not unlike the Egyptians. Not that I'm connecting them, but same type of thing here. Lots of bird imagery, lots of headdresses, lots of culture, lots of history. All gone right now, except for these right here. And stories and accounts of giant skeletons being found in the area over 100 years ago. And then I guess around the 1920s or so, all those stories were just disappeared. And I come along and find all this stuff, and there's no information on it. Who could have created this stuff? And I call them the white stone people, because this place is full of white quartz, and this is why they came here, because of the stone. And they left their story. These people must have been very cultured. Dave talks about canals down in Long Island. Canal systems, and these people were stretching down the Connecticut River into Long Island, down through Connecticut, which is full of megalithic sites. Well, this is Jimmy up here in Strange, Vermont. I hope you're having a good night. I want to show you the buffalo and the elephant again. The buffalo with the golden eye. Right here in Vermont. He has 3 pupils. Thank you folks for watching, and you have a great evening. Thank you.